Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about some important topics in runtime storage organization in compiler. So we'll just discuss which are the important questions that will be asked in the university, and I'll explain you each and every questions. Okay, so if you could see that what is people optimization, describe its characteristic. What is simple code generator? Explain with example. Write the code generator for and some expression has been given. So these are the repeated questions which will be asked in university or whatsoever the university is going to be. These are very important questions in runtime storage organizations. So first we'll see what is people optimization. Okay. So, people optimization. So, we have already discussed in the previous class about machine independent optimization and machine dependent optimization. Yes, I just told you what is machine independent optimization. It means it will not depend on the assembler, it will just optimizes only the programming language which we have used for the compiler. Only that specific language will be optimized, and then it will be left out as an assembly level language at the end of it. Correct? That is machine independent. But here, people optimization is machine dependent optimization. Machine dependent optimization is according to the assembler, the output of your assembly level language is going to be depending on the assembler register allocation and the specifications of the assembler, it will be created. So how does the optimization is being carried out in people optimization, and what is people optimization? That we will be discussing today. So people optimization is, why are we using people optimization is, for example, if I'm going to optimize it every statement by statement, we have discussed like every program will be separated with the basic blocks, and each programs will be the programs will be fed into the basic blocks, and then if it's optimized inside that specific blocks, we call it as local optimization, and if it's outside, we call it as in global optimization, right? So if we are going to do statement by statement, what will happen? The target code will be a redundant instruction. That is, most of the unwanted instructions will be, you will be having unwanted instructions at the target. That is, the assembly level language will be having mostly unwanted instructions also will be included in your output. So I just don't want that unwanted instructions to be included. After which is being done, so what I am doing in such cases is the target code will be have to go for a certain transformation. So taking that code, and I'm going to do some transformation. Since I have some unwanted codes, I'm going to take that code, and I'm going to, instead of that code, I'm going to replace it with a faster and shorter code instead of that which is already been compressed, or which is already been optimized. I'm going to take it, and again I'm going to compress it or optimize it with a faster and shorter code, and then I'm going to leave it to the assembler, because according to the assembler specification I'm going to keep it. So people is something, a special window will be, what it will be doing, a small window is moved over a target code. So to the target code, after a target code has been come out from the compiler, a special window or a small window will be moving out only to a certain segment or certain code which is not required that the compiler or the assembler feels, that window will be going and placing it. Okay, after that, the transformation will be done according to the assembler's needs. The transformation will be done. That is why it is called peephole. So peephole is nothing but a small window will be placed after the target code has been done, and that specific line, you call it as a specific or expression or a specific code will be removed, and instead of that, a shorter and faster code will be replacement. We are not going to eliminate it completely. We are just going to replace it. Okay, that you call it as in peephole optimization. So what is the use of peephole optimization is I mean the code will be improved, or the performance of my system will be faster if I'm going to execute it. If I'm going to reduce it more and more, instead of like it will be more faster, right? That is what we all require it. So it will improve the performance of a program. It reduce the memory, that is in the after compilation only we are going to execute it, right? We will be first compiling it. While compilation, the compiler will be telling how much memory that is being required for this specific program, after which it will be placed in the operating system will be allocating a memory, and then it will be placed in that specific memory place, and it starts executing. Yes, that is how it has been doing it, correct? So the memory, if it is less, if the code has been less, the occupied memory will be less. So it will not occupy much memory in that. That is one of the advantage of using peephole optimization. And the other one is it reduces the code size. Obviously, when the code size is reduced, the memory will be taking less space. It will not be taking off much space, right? So these are the advantage of using peephole optimization. And some of the characteristics of peephole optimizations are, we have redundant instruction elimination that we have already seen in machine independent code optimization. But again, I'll tell you what this will be doing it. See, redundant load and store elimination, or redundant instruction elimination, we call it as. This is characteristics of peephole. So characteristics of peephole optimizations will be redundant load and store elimination, or this can also be redundant instruction elimination. What is instruction elimination? So a specific instruction which is like repeated in your program, that will be eliminated, right? So see, this is going to be my code. Y is equal to x plus 5, I is equal to y, z is equal to I, w is equal to z star 3. That is it multiplication, multiply 3, or is it into 3? Yes, see here, I is equal to y and z is equal to I, which is going to be same. My I value is going to be my sorry, my y value is going to be my I as well as z. So if I calculate y, I will be able to calculate w also. I don't have to find it z and then placing the value into 3. So y is equal to x plus 5. After I found out my x, I don't have to put unnecessary words I is equal to y, and after finding I, again I have to find z unnecessarily. I'm taking more steps. Instead, I can write y into 3. This is not going to be make much difference in the sense it will be reducing 2 steps has been eliminated here, but this is not going to change my complete source program, correct? But I have optimized it here. This you call it as redundant load and store elimination, or you can also call as redundant instruction elimination. This is one of the character of peephole optimization. And the next one will be constant folding. What is constant folding? Constant folding is also something like, see, I have given x is equal to 2 into 3. Instead of giving this step, and then and the next step I'm going to give x is equal to 6. So instead of that, I can just directly put x is equal to 6. Correct. In some programs, we will be writing value divided by 2. Value is equal to 6. We will be initializing in the front, and in the loop, we will be saying value is equal to value divided by 2 we will be giving. Instead of that, I can just give you what is the value 6 divided by 2. What? 2 3s are 6. So 3, I can give just 3. Correct. That will be minimizing the steps. So that whatever the constant values that you will be having, you can round it up, and you can use an arithmetic operation, and then you can use it. This you also call it as algebraic simplifications. So algebraic simplifications with the constants, it will be doing it, and it will optimize it and save it in a variable. That is also an optimized form. Strength reduction. Strength reduction is something for multiplication we can use. It is high precedent operator. Correct. In operator precedence, we will be high precedence or multiplication, division, then minus, plus, we will be using, it will be having a equal sign. Yes. So instead of multiplication, I can use addition or right shift operator or left shift operator. See here, right shift or left shift for division. So instead of x plus 2, I have used, if my x is going to be 4, 4 into 2, 8. Correct. Here my y is equal to 4 plus 4. This is also going to be 8. Correct. Instead of this, I can also use this, or I can also use this. So same goes for division also. This is also one of the strength reduction. Instead of higher precedence operator, we are going to use the lower precedence operator. Okay. Then the next one is Messian idioms, we call it as. What is Messian idioms is the instruction that is being fed out in the target instruction that we are getting it is like sometimes we need to be converting addition and multiplication by manually, we must be doing it. Yes. So what this will be doing is these target instruction, what this will be doing, the Messian instruction will be used instead of some of what do you say, some of the instruction will be used according to the Messian. Like for example, I've got some instruction output as an assembly level language. Okay, sorry, from the compiler I've got it as an assembly level language. But that's instruction I found it that can be replaced with something that is required for assembly, something that can be used in an assembler because assembler is not supporting. Okay, when you're trying to download something, you'll get a message, it will not be supported by so and so operating system. So you have to upgrade your system. These are the message or pop-up that you're getting it, right? So this machine is not accepting that version. If that is the case, only that specific things will be changed. Whichever is not been updated, only that updation that we are doing it, and then we are taking it off. It will not be updating the complete software. Whichever has been uploaded extra has to be loaded up, it'll be like it'll be taking it off. Correct. That is what even for the app that we are going to do it. So same goes for Messian idioms is the machine will be having some certain like increments, auto increments or auto decrements will be there in the assembler. Okay, it will be automatic. You don't have to, or a target code don't have to do anything. It will automatically, when you leave the target code to the assembler, it will automatically increase or decrease the code, and then it will be fed into that machine. That you call it as machine idioms. That machines are now currently that we will be using it, because according to the assembler it will be changing and doing it. We don't have to make any changes. That you call it as machine idioms. Then the next one will be flow of control optimization. Flow of control optimization is, see this. So unnecessary jumps can be eliminated in flow of control optimization. See here one example that I have put. Go to test. Okay, when I'm going to test block, I'm going to conditional jump. I'm going to the block. I'm going to test line. In test, go to done. I am not doing any work in that line. I'm just jumping to the next line which is there in the same block. Go to done. So instead of going from test to done, I can also give go to done here directly. This should be eliminated. This line is not required. This can be eliminated. So I can just give directly go to done, and the done line will be like it will not go to this line, and then it will not, the control will not go here. Directly from here the control will be going to this line. This is flow of control. When the flow is being going, we will be have to be, it will also be minimizing it if it is unnecessary conditional jump or unconditional jump. That will also be controlled it, optimized it. This is also a people optimization characteristics. Okay, this is a first question when they ask you what is people optimization and the characteristic of people optimization. You should write the definition of it and what is the advantage of using people optimization and what are the characteristics that we have and how do we convert from one form, how do we make the transition from one form to the other form with an example that you should be writing it off. Okay, that is your people optimization. The next question was simple code generator. Explain simple code generator with examples. So simple code generator with example. So simple code generator is what it will be doing is it is kind of an code generation when we are I mean the results after it is being computed in code generation we will be getting a target code. Yes, once the result is being computed it will be kept in the register. Okay, it will not be fed directly to the assembler. It will be kept in the register for a while and then it will be moving to the next phase. In simple code generator what it will be doing is it will be converting to the 3 address code. From the 3 address code that we will be moving to registers. So here we will be using a function called get register function. Okay, here get register function, why we are using this get register function is to assign the register to a variable. So how much ever variable that we have it in the program, for that specific variables we have the registers. Okay, that we need to assign a memory for each and every registers and the sorry, each and every variables, and the variables might be having some values in the memory, right? So we need to assign a register for each variables. So we need to call the function when we are doing a target code, when we are converting a code to target. Then at that case we will be using two data structures. What are those? Are one is a register descriptor and the other one is the address descriptor. So what is register descriptor is it will keep track of what is currently in each register. So in each register, I will be having register 1, register 2. I will be, my memory is being, the register is being assigned. So in each register, what is the variable is being saved, what is the content is being saved in that specific register. These informations will be keep tracking of it. Okay. And then initially the registers will be empty. Initially the registers will be empty. After the computation is being over, the register, the value will be kept into the register, and those register will be having some locations, the address. Yes, that you called address descriptor, used to keep track of locations where the variables is stored. Correct. For example, in R0, R1, R2, R3 I have these registers. So in R0 I have A, or R1 I have B, in R2 I have C. Okay, these are the ABC variables that I have. R0 is in 100, R1 is 101, R2 is 103. So the address descriptor for R0 will be my 100th location. The location of my R0 is 100. What is 100 is holding? 100 is holding the variable of A. Which register? R0 is holding. So these are the information that address descriptor and register descriptor will be doing it. Okay, with the help of a get register function. All right. Then let me tell you how it is working with a simple example. We'll go to example here. So the simple code generator algorithm that we will be using is, for example, I am taking x is equal to y of c. Okay, my x will be holding the result of for example y plus z. I have y plus z. I am having y value is 2, z value is 2. So I will be holding 4, x is equal to 4. Where x is saved? In which register? Maybe R1 register. In which address it is being saved? So these information, for example, my x is being saved in L. Location L. That is 100 I can keep. I kept it as L. You can keep any location name. L is a location where the result of y of z is stored. Okay. Now call the function get register. First we should call the function get register to get the location of L. So I should know. Finally, I should put the computation value to the register. Initially, the registers are empty. I have assigned registers and the registers are kept empty initially. Okay, my x is in R0. For example, we will take it. Okay, location of L. Now I'm checking whether y is there in the location L. I'm checking. No, y is not there. If y is not there, then what I have to do? I have to use the function move y dash comma L. Okay, y dash is the value of y. For example, the value of y is 2. So move the value of 2 to the location L. It will be moving. So function move y dash comma L will be moved to Lth location. 2 will be moved to L location. Okay. Now copy the value of y in L. Yes, it will be copied in L location. Now I will be finding out my Z. So is it is having with the operator. First I'm taking only x. The next variable I'm checking with the operator. With the operator I'm going to move it. What operation it is going to give? It is going to do plus operator it is going to do. That is how we have seen an intermediate code generator. Yes, first initially you will be moving a variable to a register. Then add R0 comma R1. Your R1 might be having plus C. You will be having that plus C will be put it in. Final answer will be put it in that. That is how an assembly level language that we will be moving it. Correct. So see here, I'm finding out op is it, that is operator plus or minus or is or multiplication, that operator, and the variable that I'm moving to, that op z dash will be moved to L. So in the Lth location already y is there. I am moving my op z dash also. So in my y L location, what is the variable that I'm having? X is equal to y op z value is there. So I'm adding or multiplying. I'm doing an arithmetic operation and then I'm keeping the final result in L. So after which I need to be updating my address descriptor and register descriptor, because initially my register was empty. Correct. And then later my register has been holding some value. So I need to update it. So I need to update my address descriptor and register descriptor after I move all the contents. If I came to know that is not being used for so long, or which is not been required after it has been multiplied or after the computation has been done, I'm not going to use it. If that's the case, I should be removing my y and z from the register so that the memory will be reduced for that specific program. Yes. Okay, I'll show you some examples. They have given an expression d is equal to a minus b plus a minus c plus a minus c. So this is what the expression is. In exams, how do they ask you is, they'll give you an expression. They'll ask you to convert it to simple code generator, or they will ask you to find the code generator for this equations, for this expression. If that's the question, or find the 3 address code for this, or find a register descriptor and address descriptor for so and so expression. If that is going to be the question, see here, you need to convert 3 address code. Correct. We have seen quadruples, triples, indirect triples, but not mostly, but the compiler is using 3 address code only. Correct. Even if it is slow, the compiler is using 3 address code. So taking this into account, we are converting to 3 address code. How it is converted? We already have seen what is 3 address code, right? So now T1 is equal to a minus b. I'm putting this a minus b in a temporary variable called T1. Okay. T2 is a minus c. Here a minus c is again repeated. If it is again and again repeated, we can use the constant folding, or we can use common sub-expression in things. Correct. We don't have to again repeatedly do it. See, T2 is equal to a minus c. Here I need to plus my T1 and T2. So T3 is equal to T1 plus T2. Correct. So I found these things. Now again I should be finding these, this a minus c. So capital D, this D is equal to, sorry. So this D is equal to T3 plus T2, again A minus C. Correct? Yes. So now I have created a 3 address code. Now I should be doing a simple code generator. I should be doing it. For creating a simple code generator, this is how you should be doing. What is this? What are the statements I have? Code generator, register descriptor and address descriptor. Okay. Let's see one by one. First code. What is my first statement? T1 is equal to A minus B is my first statement. T1 is equal to A minus B. So here move A comma or not. You are moving your A variable to the register or not. Correct? Then sub is your operator. So I should be moving with the operator. There you have kept op is it dash in the algorithm. See op is it dash. Correct. Same in the register subtract B comma or not. So you need to do a subtraction in or not with the variable B. So A is already there. I am moving B also and a subtract sign. So or not will be contain the final value of A minus B, which is at T1 it will be containing. Correct? That I am putting it in the register. The register or not is containing which variable? T1 it is containing. What is the address descriptor containing? T1 in or not. That is in the address we will not be knowing which address because the computer according to the memory locations will be changing it. Correct? When you try to execute any program with the pointers only address of a variable, it will be giving you now one address. After 1 hour if you try to execute same thing, it will be giving you a different address. According to your system, the address will be keep changing it. Correct? If you're doing it with different system, then different address you will be doing it. You will be getting it. So now we are just telling address descriptor will be telling a variable T1 in R0 in some location and the locations will be displayed here. Okay. Then next statement. What is the next statement? Second, T2 is equal to A minus C statement. So that A minus C statement that we are taking it. So again, move A comma R1. That R1 will be, A will be moved to the next register R1. Then C sub C comma R1. So I am subtracting A minus C in and I am putting it in the R1 register. So here I'm updating my register because first I have updated my register. Second again I'm going to update my register. R0 contains T1 and after updating again I'm going to update R1 contains T2, the final value. So T1 in R0, T2 in R1. Okay. Now T3. Next statement is T3 is equal to T1 plus T2. See here, add R1 comma R0 because in register R0 I have T1, register R1 I have T2. So add R1 comma R0. I'm going to add these two. Where it is going to be? It is going to be in R0. I'm going to put it in R0. R1 and R0 I'm going to add it and I'm going to put it in R0. Previously R0 was holding T1. Here my R0 is going to be updated as T3. See, R0 contains T3. Now my R1 will be containing which variable? R1 contains T2 variable only it contains. Why I am putting this R1? Because I require it to compute it at the last step. So I am putting R1 contains T2. So R3 in R0, T2 in R1. Next statement, the last final statement that we are going to take it. D is equal to T3 plus T2. See here, D is equal to T3 plus T2. Add R1 comma R0. Correct? Add R1 comma R0. If it is R1 comma R0, you see, it is this value has been now the R0 has been saving the value of D. It was first T1, then T3. Now it has been upgraded to D. So R0 contains D, D in R0. That is the end of your simple code generator. This is all about your simple code generator and peepole optimization. thank you so much for watching my video. If you have any doubt in this, please get back to me or leave a comment. I'll be able to explain you more about this. And if you want to like practice this code generator, please try with this example. X is equal to a plus b star c minus d plus e divided by f into a plus b. Try with this code generator by yourself. Try to find out the register descriptor and address descriptor for this code, this expression, and please get back to me if you have any doubt. Thank you so much.